What if the stories we know hide a deep secret? A secret buried beneath the dust of time, hidden in ancient texts and forgotten legends. That is the story of Lilith, a mysterious, controversial figure who may have even predated Eve. Lilith is not just a name ignored, but a symbol erased from historical memory. Why was her story hidden? Why was her name erased from the texts? And why is the story of Lilith, with all the mystery surrounding it, locked in the shadows of the Bible? Is this an attempt to protect a certain view of creation, or is her story simply too daring to be accepted? Delve into ancient texts, explore myths, and explore the fading traces of history to find out. Who was Lilith really? What does her story reveal about the creation of humanity, and how a forgotten figure can challenge the way we perceive good and evil? The answers may make you think again, and even end times prophecy. Stick around as we explore rare discoveries, ancient Jewish texts, and hidden messages that many Christians have never heard. Think you know the creation story from the Bible? Think again. This untold story might change everything you've believed before. Before we dive in, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever heard of Lilith? Could there be more to the creation story than we've been told? Let us know. And if you're excited to learn hidden truths and uncover Bible mysteries, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Don't forget to share this with your friends and family so they can join in too. Let's get started. We'll begin with the creation story most of us know. The story of Adam and Eve is found in the first chapters of Genesis, which introduces the Bible's entire message. It tells how God created the first humans to live in harmony with Him and His creation. In Genesis 1, the Bible says, "So God created man in His own image. In the image of God He created him. Male and female He created them." Genesis 1:27. Here, the word man comes from the Hebrew word Adam, which can mean humanity. This verse highlights that both male and female were created in God's image, with equal status and dignity. This poetic account emphasizes how humans were made to reflect God's character. But this raises an important question. If both male and female were created at the same time in Genesis 1, why does Genesis 2 tell a different, more detailed story? In Genesis 2, we get a closer look at how creation unfolded. It describes how God made Adam from the dust and gave him the breath of life. Genesis 2:7 says, "Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being." After creating Adam, God placed him in the Garden of Eden, a paradise filled with everything he needed. But soon, God noticed that Adam was alone, and it wasn't good for him to stay that way. Genesis 2:18 says, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep, took one of his ribs, and from it created Eve, the first woman. This act symbolizes unity and partnership, showing that Eve was made from Adam's side, not his head or feet, to highlight equality and companionship. The story of Adam and Eve has been taught for centuries as the foundation of humanity's beginning. It's a tale of creation, partnership, and living in paradise. It also introduces the fall of humanity through disobedience, leading to their expulsion from Eden. Yet, questions remain. Why does Genesis 1 suggest male and female were created together, while Genesis 2 describes a different sequence? Could another woman have existed before Eve? Some scholars believe the two accounts hint at a deeper, hidden story, a mystery surrounding creation and the figure of Lilith. The story becomes even more intriguing when we examine ancient Jewish texts and folklore, which mention a woman named Lilith. According to these stories, Lilith was created as Adam's equal but refused to accept her role. As a result, Lilith was removed, and Eve was created afterward. While the story of Adam and Eve is widely known, it might not be the full picture. Myths and legends about Lilith suggest there may be more to the creation narrative than what appears in the Bible. Though Lilith's story is not part of the Bible itself, it has been preserved in folklore, various writings, and even archaeological findings. So, was Eve truly the first woman, or does a hidden chapter in the creation story challenge what we've always believed? To uncover the truth, we need to explore ancient texts, archaeological evidence, and the mysteries hidden in the Bible. In the next part, we'll dive into ancient Hebrew texts and examine clues suggesting the possibility of another woman Stay tuned as we uncover a hidden story that could forever transform our understanding of the Bible's creation narrative. To delve deeper into these mysteries, we must analyze the original Hebrew texts of Genesis. Modern translations often miss subtle details in the ancient language, leading to misunderstandings. By looking closely at what the Hebrew text truly says, we can gain a clearer understanding. In the first chapter of Genesis, the word used for man is Adam. In Hebrew, Adam does not solely refer to a male individual. It is a general term that can mean humanity or humankind. This nuance suggests that Genesis 1 might be describing the creation of both male and female as part of humanity, rather than focusing on a specific man named Adam. Genesis 1:26-27 states, "Then God said, 'Let us make man Adam in our image, according to our likeness.' So God created man Adam in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them." Notice how the text moves from mentioning Adam to specifically identifying male and female. The original Hebrew uses the words zakar, male, and nekabah, female, which indicates that God created male and female humans together as part of the collective Adam. The two creation accounts in Genesis, chapter 1 and chapter 2, present different timelines. Genesis 1 describes male and female being created simultaneously, while Genesis 2 details Adam being created first and Eve later formed from Adam's rib. These differences have puzzled scholars and theologians for centuries. Many believe Genesis 1 offers a broad, poetic overview of creation, whereas Genesis 2 focuses on the specific story of Adam and Eve in Eden. However, the differences between the accounts lead some to wonder if Genesis 1 might refer to the creation of another woman before Eve. One theory identifies this woman as Lilith, believed to be the first female created alongside Adam in Genesis 1. Though not mentioned in the Bible, Lilith's story appears in ancient Jewish texts like the Midrash and alphabet of Sira. These writings describe Lilith as created from the same dust as Adam, yet her insistence on equality and independence caused her to reject submission, leading to her removal. Genesis 1:27 says, "Male and female he created them." The word "them" is significant, implying the simultaneous creation of two beings. In Hebrew, this structure suggests God created two distinct individuals at the same time, not a man followed by a woman. While tradition interprets this verse as referring to Adam and Eve, it leaves questions about the chronological differences between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 unresolved. Could Lilith have been part of this earlier creation? The difference between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 raises intriguing questions. If male and female were created at the same time in Genesis 1, why does Genesis 2 describe a separate creation of Eve? In Genesis 2:18 it says, "The Lord God said, 'It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him.'" The word helper in Hebrew is ezer, which is often misunderstood. Ezer doesn't imply someone lower or subordinate. In fact, it's a word frequently used in the Bible to describe God as a helper and deliverer. This suggests that Eve was created as an equal partner to Adam, not someone beneath him. But if Genesis 1 already describes the creation of male and female, why does Genesis 2 state that God needed to create a helper for Adam? This has led some scholars to propose that the helper mentioned in Genesis 2 wasn't the first woman, but a replacement for a previous woman, Lilith, who had already left Adam after a conflict. If Lilith was the first woman, this changes how we understand the Genesis story. It suggests an earlier creation of a female figure who was Adam's equal, but rejected traditional roles. This could explain why a second woman, Eve, was created as Adam's helper to replace Lilith, who rebelled. The idea of Lilith challenges traditional interpretations of the Genesis story. It opens new perspectives on gender roles and the complexities of humanity's early stories, as described in ancient texts. In the next part, we'll explore Lilith's story further, her origins in Jewish folklore, her portrayal in ancient myths, and archaeological evidence that might support her existence. Stay with us as we uncover this fascinating mystery and reveal the secrets of the woman who may have been forgotten by history. Lilith's story is one of the most mysterious and debated in Jewish folklore. While her name isn't mentioned in the Bible, she appears in early Jewish writings like the Midrash, the alphabet of Ben Sira, and mystical texts such as the Zohar. Over time, Lilith has come to symbolize independence, rebellion, and untold aspects of the biblical narrative. The earliest references describe Lilith as the first woman created by God, formed at the same time as Adam, unlike Eve, who was made from Adam's rib. According to the Midrash, Lilith was created from the same dust as Adam, making her his equal. Conflict arose when Lilith refused to submit to Adam's authority. Legend says that when Adam tried to dominate her, Lilith felt disrespected and unfairly treated. In defiance, she spoke God's divine name and left the Garden of Eden, flying away to claim her freedom. This bold decision changed her fate, making her one of the most controversial figures in Jewish folklore. The alphabet of Ben Sira, an 8th or 9th century Jewish text, provides a detailed account of Lilith's story. After leaving Eden, Lilith lived near the Red Sea, where she was said to consort with demons and become the mother of demonic offspring, called the Lilith. God sent 3 angels, Sainoi, Sansonoi, and Samangeloth, to bring her back, but Lilith refused, choosing freedom over submission. She decided to remain by the Red Sea, forever a symbol of independence and rebellion. Lilith's choice to live independently made her a symbol of rebellion and defiance in Jewish folklore. Over time, her association with demons and the supernatural grew stronger, turning her into a figure of both fear and mystery. Interestingly, Lilith's story may not be confined to Jewish folklore alone. There are striking similarities between Lilith and characters from ancient Mesopotamian mythology. In Sumerian and Babylonian writings, there exists a female spirit called Lilu, associated with the wind and the night. Lilu is often described as a strong, independent woman who roamed freely, unbound by male control. Some scholars believe the Jewish Lilith is an adaptation of the Sumerian Lilu. This connection points to a shared myth about a powerful, autonomous woman who defied traditional gender roles in ancient societies. Women like this were often feared and demonized, leading to portrayals of them as dangerous or evil. For example, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, a famous Mesopotamian story, there is a reference to a demonic figure in the hulupu tree, often linked to Lilith. This figure is described as bird-like and living in darkness, which aligns with Lilith's depiction as a nocturnal spirit. While Lilith's name does not appear in most translations of the Bible, a mysterious reference in Isaiah 34:14 has sparked debate among scholars. The verse says, "The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the screech owl Lilith shall rest there." In the original Hebrew text, the word used is Lilith, which closely resembles Lilith's name. Many English translations interpret this word as screech owl or night creature, but the Hebrew term carries deeper meanings. It is often associated with darkness, desolation, and supernatural forces, matching Lilith's portrayal as a night demon or spirit of the wind in mythology. Some biblical scholars suggest that this verse might indirectly reference Lilith. Isaiah 34 describes a desolate, chaotic setting which aligns with Lilith's character as a wilderness dweller. This connection hints that the authors of Isaiah may have been aware of the Lilith legend and incorporated it into their vision of judgment and destruction. Lilith's story did not end when she left Eden. Over time, her character evolved in Jewish folklore and mystical traditions. Initially depicted as Adam's equal, she was later reimagined as a demon, seductress, and mother of demons. In the Zohar, an important text in Jewish mysticism, Lilith is referred to as the first Eve, cast out for her defiance. This shift reflects societal attitudes of the time. In a male-dominated world, a woman who refused to obey men was seen as dangerous. By turning Lilith into a demon, ancient writers may have been issuing a cautionary tale about the risks of female independence and sexuality. In modern times, Lilith has been reclaimed as a symbol of feminine strength and defiance. Feminist scholars and writers view her as a woman who chose her own path, even at great personal cost. Her story challenges traditional narratives that portray women as submissive or secondary. Whether seen as a demon, a rebellious spirit, or a feminist icon, Lilith's legend has endured for thousands of years, offering insights into ancient views on power and gender. In the next section, we'll explore archaeological evidence that might reveal more about this forgotten chapter of history. Stay tuned as we continue uncovering the mysteries of the first woman who defied convention. When the Bible was written, the people of Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon told stories of powerful, independent female spirits that resemble the Lilith of later Jewish folklore. These findings suggest that Lilith's story may have deep roots in ancient mythology, reaching back to the earliest days of recorded history. Archaeologists have discovered clay tablets from ancient Sumer, dating as far back as 2000 BCE, which mention a figure called Lilith. The name Lilith closely resembles Lilith, and the descriptions of her are strikingly similar to Jewish legends. In these ancient texts, Lilith is described as a female demon or spirit associated with the night and the wind. She was believed to wander desolate areas, haunting wildernesses and preying on men. The Sumerians depicted Lilith as a beautiful yet dangerous spirit, full of power and independence. Unlike most female figures of the time, who were portrayed as nurturing or submissive, Lilith acted on her own desires and wasn't controlled by male authority. This fiercely independent nature mirrors Lilith's rebellious character in Jewish folklore. In Sumerian myths, Lilith is also associated with the wind, symbolizing her untamed, free-spirited nature. Ancient cultures often saw the wind as a strong, uncontrollable force, much like Lilith herself. This imagery may have influenced the Jewish portrayal of Lilith as a wild, independent spirit. One fascinating artifact connected to this idea is the Burney Relief, a 4,000-year-old Mesopotamian plaque. It depicts a female figure with bird-like talons and wings, which some scholars believe represents Lilith. This suggests the concept of a strong, pre-Eve woman existed in ancient Mesopotamian cultures long before the Bible was written. If Lilith was indeed created as the first woman equal to Adam, why isn't she included in the traditional biblical story? To answer this, we need to look beyond the Bible into other ancient writings, such as apocryphal texts and manuscripts excluded from the official biblical canon. These hidden texts may reveal more about Lilith's lost story and the early beliefs that shaped our understanding of creation. One theory is that Lilith's story was deliberately excluded or altered when the Bible was compiled. The process of deciding which texts to include in the Bible was influenced by religious, cultural, and political factors. Early leaders of the church and Jewish communities may have found Lilith's defiance of Adam and refusal to conform to traditional gender roles too controversial. Her story clashed with the patriarchal values of the time. By omitting her narrative, they presented a simple creation account where Eve is the first and only woman created as Adam's helper. This supported a narrative of male authority and female submission. The omission of Lilith's story may have been part of a broader effort to suppress traditions that didn't align with emerging ideas about gender roles and family structures. A story about a rebellious first woman could have been seen as a challenge to societal norms. However, discoveries like the Dead Sea Scrolls, found in the Qumran caves in the 1940s, have changed our understanding of the biblical world. These scrolls, dating back to the 2nd century BCE, include some of the oldest copies of biblical and non-biblical writings. Among them are fragments hinting at stories and figures not included in the Bible, possibly even references to someone like Lilith. One fascinating text, the Genesis Apocryphon, retells the Genesis story with additional details, including cryptic references to a conflict between Adam and a first wife. Some scholars believe these fragments may reference Lilith. They describe a woman created alongside Adam who later left him due to disagreements, echoing the legend of Lilith's departure from Eden. Although the fragments are incomplete and challenging to interpret, they suggest that early Jewish communities may have been aware of alternative creation stories, including one about a first wife who wasn't Eve. The inclusion of such stories in the Dead Sea Scrolls, considered sacred by the Qumran community, indicates that Lilith's legend was more familiar and accepted in some circles than previously thought. Another important text, the Book of Enoch, offers further insights into ancient beliefs about supernatural beings. Though not part of the official Bible, the Book of Enoch was highly regarded in early Jewish and Christian traditions. It describes fallen angels, demons, and other supernatural entities, providing a glimpse into the mythology of the time. The text mentions night spirits vulnerable. The Book of Enoch also introduces the Watchers, fallen angels who rebelled against God and took human wives, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim. Some scholars draw parallels between these rebellious figures and Lilith. Like the Watchers, Lilith defied divine order, challenged established norms, and faced consequences for her rebellion. The exclusion of Lilith's story from the Bible might reflect the patriarchal values of ancient societies. As Jewish and Christian beliefs developed and religious teachings became formalized, the roles of women in these texts grew more conservative. Stories about strong, independent women like Lilith, who refused to conform to traditional gender roles, may have been perceived as threats to social order. By leaving out or portraying such figures negatively, early biblical writers promoted narratives emphasizing male authority and female submission. The shift in Lilith's portrayal, from an equal partner to a demon, mirrors broader cultural changes toward patriarchal ideas. Despite being excluded from the official Bible, Lilith's story survived in folklore and legend. Her tale, though hidden, continued to influence religious beliefs and cultural traditions, offering a glimpse into a forgotten chapter of the creation story. In conclusion, whether seen as a myth or a piece of hidden history, Lilith's story invites us to explore the Bible and ancient texts more deeply. It challenges us to reconsider what we've been taught and to recognize that the story of creation may have more layers than we realize. The story of Lilith, cloaked in mystery and brimming with symbolism, serves as a timeless reminder of autonomy, resilience, and the courage to challenge the status quo. Though her historical accuracy remains debated, Lilith's narrative offers profound lessons that resonate deeply in modern life. At its core, her tale invites us to embrace independence, recognizing our inherent worth and standing firm against societal constraints. Like Lilith, who refused to conform to imposed roles, we too can challenge norms that stifle our growth, finding fulfillment in paths uniquely our own. Her story also compels us to question established narratives, much like she defied the traditional order of Eden. Life, history, and even personal beliefs are rarely one-dimensional. By exploring alternative perspectives and delving into untold truths, we uncover richer, more nuanced understandings of the world around us. Lilith's defiance reminds us that growth often stems from challenging what we've been taught, pushing beyond the surface to uncover deeper realities. Furthermore, Lilith's resilience in the face of rejection demonstrates that adversity can be a crucible for strength. Her departure from Eden and the isolation that followed did not diminish her power, but instead redefined her role in legend and lore. In our lives, challenges are inevitable, but they offer opportunities to rise, adapt, and emerge stronger. Embracing these trials, much like Lilith did, transforms obstacles into stepping stones for growth. Perhaps most intriguingly, Lilith's story redefines power, shifting it from dominance to self-awareness and empowerment. Her defiance, though labeled rebellious in patriarchal traditions, now symbolizes the transformative strength of standing true to oneself. In relationships, her tale advocates for equality, not sameness, but a mutual honoring of strengths and contributions. This ethos of balance and respect enriches connections, fostering unity over hierarchy. Her narrative also invites us to explore creativity and spirituality. The mysteries surrounding her life challenge us to seek deeper meaning, whether through art, meditation, or the pursuit of untold histories. These explorations not only connect us to the universe, but also to ourselves, unlocking new dimensions of personal growth and fulfillment. Was Eve truly the first woman? The answer depends on where you look and how willing you are to explore ancient mysteries. Whether you view Lilith as real or symbolic, one thing is certain: humanity's history is far richer and more complex than we've been told. If you found this topic interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Lilith could have been the first woman? What other ancient mysteries would you like us to explore? Let us know, and we'll see you in the next video.